She walked in with her resume wearing the same smug look she had when she laughed at my so-called useless art degree. I was sitting just 10 feet away, hidden behind tinted glass, because the woman applying for a job at my agency was my mother. And she had no idea I owned the company. My name is Riley Morgan, and if you'd told me 5 years ago that I'd be watching my mother beg for a job at the company she said would never exist, I would have laughed until I cried. Actually, scratch that. I would have just cried because 5 years ago I was sleeping on a friend's couch with nothing but my cat Mocha and a laptop that crashed every time I opened Photoshop. But let me back up, because to understand why watching Janet Morgan sit in that waiting room made my hands shake, you need to know what she did to me first. Growing up in suburban Austin, I was the family disappointment wrapped in a pretty bow. My older brother Michael went to law school. My younger sister Emma became a nurse. And me, I got a fine arts degree with a minor in marketing from UT Austin. The day I graduated, my mother threw what she called a celebration dinner. Halfway through the appetizers, after her third glass of wine, she clinked her fork against her glass. A toast, she announced, to Riley, who spent 4 years and $40,000 to learn how to finger paint and make Instagram posts. The table went silent. My dad shifted uncomfortably. Emma stared at her plate. Michael cleared his throat. "Mom," I said quietly, "it's digital design and strategic marketing." "Oh, honey," she laughed. "That sharp sound that still makes my chest tight. You can call it whatever makes you feel better. But we both know you'll be serving coffee to people with real careers by next month." I left that dinner early, Mocha purring in my lap as I drove home, tears streaming down my face. She was this tiny Russian blue kitten then, a graduation gift I'd gotten myself because I knew no one else would celebrate me properly. The next 3 months proved her right at first. I applied to 67 jobs. I got 4 interviews. 0 offers. Every rejection email felt like her voice echoing worthless, worthless, worthless. Then Nathan Chen walked into the coffee shop where I was, indeed serving lattes. "You designed the mural outside?" he asked, pointing to the chalk art I'd spent my breaks creating. "Yeah, why? Because my startup needs someone who can make our brand not suck. And that," he gestured to my dancing coffee beans illustration, "doesn't suck." If you've ever had a moment where your entire life pivots on a single conversation, drop a comment below, because that day changed everything. Nathan's startup failed 6 months later, but not before I'd redesigned 5 other companies' entire visual identities on the side. Word spread. Suddenly, small businesses across Austin wanted the girl who could make their brand not suck. Within a year, I had too many clients to handle alone. Flash forward 18 months. I'm 26, running what I now called Maverick Creative from my apartment, with 3 freelancers under me and Mocha as our official chief morale officer. She'd grown into this elegant, judgmental cat who somehow always knew which clients would pay on time. My family had no idea. As far as they knew, I was doing some internet thing and probably still broke. I stopped going to family dinners after my mother posted on Facebook about how her daughter was finding herself with a crying, laughing emoji. The post that changed everything wasn't mine. It was a client's. Bella's bakery was dying. The owner, a 67-year-old grandmother named Rosa, had invested her entire retirement into this dream. She came to me with $500, her last marketing budget, tears in her eyes. "Everyone says young people don't eat real bread anymore," she said. I spent 3 days in her kitchen, filming her hands kneading dough, her telling stories about her grandmother's recipes, her feeding day-old pastries to homeless veterans every Tuesday. We created a campaign called Bread is Love that told Austin who Rosa really was. The video went viral. Not just Austin viral. We're talking 4.2 million views and 72 hours viral. Rosa's bakery had lines around the block. Food Network called. She hired 12 new employees. And suddenly, everyone wanted to know who was behind the campaign. That's when I made the decision that would either build an empire or destroy everything. I took out a loan, rented a real office space in downtown Austin, and turned Maverick Creative into a legitimate agency. Nathan joined as my technical director. Yes, that Nathan. We'd stayed friends, and watching him watch me build something from nothing had created this electricity between us that we both pretended didn't exist. He was brilliant, funny, and had this way of challenging my ideas that made them better without making me feel small. Unlike my mother. By year 3, Maverick Creative had 22 employees, a waiting list of clients, and that rare thing in agency world, a soul. We only took clients we believed in. We paid our interns, we had mental health days, and brought our pets to work. Mocha had her own office chair and an Instagram account with 50K followers. I bought a house, paid off my student loans, started a scholarship fund for art students at UT. Did I tell my family? Of course not, they never asked and I never volunteered. At family events, I was still Riley with her little internet thing. The night everything exploded started with a cyber attack. We were launching a campaign for a women's shelter, pro bono work that meant everything to me. Nathan was pulling an all-nighter, monitoring the deployment when our servers started acting strange. Riley, get here now. His voice on the phone was tight. I arrived to find our office in chaos. Someone had breached our systems trying to steal client data. Nathan was fighting them off in real time, his fingers flying across 3 keyboards like some kind of cyber warfare pianist. They're good, he muttered, but not good enough. Then the fire started. Not a metaphorical fire. An actual fire in our server room. Later we'd learn it was unrelated to the hack. Just cosmic timing. A faulty wire that chose that exact moment to spark. Nathan didn't hesitate. He ran into the smoke, grabbed our backup drives, and got everyone out. When the firefighters arrived, he was sitting on the curb, shirt singed, holding our company's future in his arms. And all I could think was how I wanted to kiss him right there in front of everyone. I didn't, but Mocha did rub against his legs, which in cat language is basically a marriage proposal. The investigation into the cyber attack revealed something that made my blood run cold. The IP address traced back to a computer at my brother Michael's law firm. Specifically to an intern named Tyler. Tyler, who happened to be dating my sister Emma. Tyler, who'd been at every family dinner where my mother loudly discussed my playing at business. Tyler, who thought he could destroy what I built and sell our client list to competitors. Confronting my family was like walking into a tornado with an umbrella. Michael was horrified, fired Tyler immediately and apologized profusely. Emma cried, claimed she had no idea, then admitted Tyler had mentioned teaching me a lesson about the real business world. But my mother? Janet Morgan looked me in the eye and said, maybe if you'd been more transparent about your little company, this wouldn't have happened. Little company, we'd just been featured in Forbes 30 under 30 inches list. Little company. That was the last time I spoke to her. Until today, until she walked into my office for a job interview. I need you to understand something. When you cut toxic people out of your life, you imagine the moment they realize what they lost. You picture their faces when they see your success. You dream about their regret. But you never imagine them this desperate. My mother had aged 10 years in the 2 I hadn't seen her. Her designer clothes were replaced with an off-the-rack suit. Her perfect manicure was chipped. And her resume, God, her resume was heartbreaking. 20 years as a homemaker and community volunteer translated into corporate speak. Managed household operations. Coordinated charitable events. Supervised family development initiatives. Nathan found me frozen behind the one-way glass of our conference room. Is that, yeah. He stood beside me, his shoulder touching mine. We'd finally stopped pretending about the electricity. We'd been together 6 months, though we kept it professional at the office. Mostly, she doesn't know, he asked. My name isn't on the website. I'm listed as R. Morgan, CEO. She probably thinks it's some guy named Robert. My mother was reading our company values on the wall. The ones I wrote, including number 3, family means the team you choose. The irony was suffocating. I could have hidden, could have let my HR director handle it, reject her quietly, let her leave never knowing how close she'd come to her daughter's world. But something made me walk into that room. Mrs. Morgan, I said, wearing glasses she'd never seen and the kind of power suit she always said I couldn't pull off. I'm R. Morgan. I'll be conducting your interview. The way her face cycled through confusion, recognition, and shock would have been satisfying if it hadn't been so sad. "Riley, it's Miss Morgan in this office. Please, sit." She sat. For the first time in my life, Janet Morgan looked small. I had no idea you owned a company, had employees, built something worthwhile with my worthless degree. Mocha chose that moment to stride in, because cats have impeccable dramatic timing. She jumped into my lap, purring loudly, a furry emotional support system who knew I needed her. "Why are you here, Mom?" The story spilled out like a dam breaking. Dad had left her for his secretary. A cliché so basic it hurt. In the divorce, she discovered he'd hidden assets for years. She got the house but couldn't afford to keep it. Michael and Emma were struggling with their own families. Her perfect life had crumbled, and at 55 she needed a job for the first time ever. "I saw your company was hiring a communications coordinator," she said quietly. "I thought with my event planning experience." She trailed off, finally understanding the cosmic joke of it all. "Here's where I need your input, everyone. Comment below what you would have done." Because I spent the next 3 hours in my office, Mocha in my lap, Nathan bringing me tea, trying to decide if revenge was worth becoming someone I didn't recognize. My team had opinions. Strong ones. "She's toxic," said Marcus, my art director who'd heard every story. "You don't owe her anything." "But she's your mom," countered Jess from accounts. "Family is complicated. We have a no assholes policy," reminded David from HR. "Does she qualify?" Nathan, beautiful Nathan, just held my hand and said, "Whatever you decide, I'm here." I called her that night. "Meet me at Rosa's Bakery tomorrow. 7 a.m. She was there at 6:45, holding a black coffee with shaking hands. Rosa, who knew my story, gave us space but kept Mocha behind the counter for moral support. "I'm going to offer you something," I said. "Not because you deserve it, but because I'm not you." Her eyes filled with tears. "A 3-month contract position. Entry level. You'll report to Jess, not me. You'll learn our systems, prove yourself like everyone else. If you make it, we'll discuss permanent placement. If you bring any toxicity into my company, you're gone." "Riley, there are conditions. You attend therapy. You never undermine any employee, especially me. And you tell everyone exactly how you treated your daughter before she built this. That's humiliating." "No, Mom. Humiliating is being told you're worthless at your own graduation dinner. This is accountability." She took the job. The first month was hell. Mom struggled with the technology, the pace, the culture. She watched me lead meetings, make decisions, saw Nathan and I steal glances across the room. She watched Mocha command more respect in the office than she did. But something shifted in month 2. I caught her defending our work to a difficult client. She started bringing homemade cookies for the team. She asked Marcus about his art, genuinely interested. She even created an Instagram account to follow Mocha. The breakthrough came during a crisis. A client's campaign had been sabotaged by a competitor, similar to what Tyler had tried with us. We had 48 hours to salvage it. Mom stayed all night, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. I found her at 3 a.m., teaching herself Photoshop from YouTube tutorials, determined to help. "I was wrong," she said without looking up. "About everything. Your degree, your dreams, you. I was so scared you'd fail that I tried to protect you by making you smaller." "I see that now," I asked, exhausted enough to be honest. "Because I was scared of failing too. I picked the safe path. The husband, the house, the role. And look where it got me. You were brave enough to be who you really are. I was just too proud to see it." Nathan brought us coffee, squeezed my shoulder, and somehow we saved the campaign. The client sent champagne. The team celebrated. And for the first time, my mother hugged me like she was proud of who I actually was, not who she wanted me to be. Did I keep her on? Hit like if you think I should have. Comment if you think I was too forgiving. She works part-time now. 3 days a week. She's good at event coordination, terrible at TikTok, and trying to learn. She and Mocha have reached a detente. Nathan says she's growing on him, though he'll never forget what she put me through. Neither will I. Here's the haunting part. Success isn't the revenge you think it will be. Watching my mother struggle in my world didn't heal the wounds she created. Her working for me doesn't erase the years I believed I was worthless. But it did teach me something. The opposite of toxic isn't perfect. It's growth, it's accountability, it's choosing to be better even when someone doesn't deserve your better. My company is worth $12 million now. We just opened a second office in LA. Nathan and I are engaged. And yes, Mocha approved. She actually brought me his ring box when he dropped it. Because he was nervous. Because cats are wingmen like that. My mother works for me, but she'll never own any part of what I built. That's mine. Born from the ashes of her doubt. Built with hands she said could only finger paint. Funded by a degree she called worthless. Last week, a young woman DM'd me on Instagram. Her parents had just laughed at her gaming design degree. She was sleeping on a friend's couch, convinced they were right. I hired her on the spot. She starts Monday. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's making sure no one else goes through what you did. It's building something so beautiful from your pain that it changes lives. My name is Riley Morgan. My degree wasn't worthless. And if someone in your life has made you feel small for chasing your dreams, send them this story. Then go build something that makes them interview for a job at your company. Trust me, it's worth the wait. Mocha's purring her approval as I write this. Nathan's making dinner. My mother sent a text about a client idea that's actually good. Life is weird, complicated, and nothing like I imagined. But it's mine. And I built it with my worthless degree. Would you have forgiven her? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, especially from those of you fighting to prove your worth. And remember, the best revenge is massive success. The best healing is using that success to lift others. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an empire to run and a cat who demands her evening treats. Until next time, this is Riley Morgan, CEO of the company my mother said would never exist.